say education has changed from 50 years ago today and being a lot more choice and like decision making. You can decide whether you want to continue on your education into college, into higher education, rather than being like forced to go. And there's also more people that are going to college and succeeding in life with that college education than 50 years ago.
I feel 50 years ago they didn't use technology as much in the classrooms. Now we teach kids to use the computer at an earlier age. We use smart boards and projectors, making learning a more visual experience instead of text-based and reading from textbooks.
Years ago to now.
Well, within this country, I feel like education has changed a lot in the fact that you need advanced degrees and more advanced degrees nowadays in order to pursue better job opportunities and to have a higher pay. Because back then in America, you didn't really need a college degree, you didn't need a master's degree, you just needed a high school degree, if that, and you'll be fine getting a job. Nowadays, you need a bachelor's degree, you need a master's degree, you need to pursue more. And also specifically within, high school, I can speak on that. Within specifically high school, something that's changing is that the curriculum. So Illinois has adopted new curriculum within science called NGSS standards and then Common Core standards. So those are changing as well. We're not basing our curriculum and what we're teaching our students off the old standards and what Illinois requires us to teach. Now we're going on into something new, more inquiry-based, student-oriented learning.
I feel that the way that education is taught, teachers are more educated than they were 50 years ago. But I also see that they're trying new ways of doing it, and it's not necessarily the right way. From how I was taught to the way that a college student is taught now, or how a college, even in grammar school, how they are taught.
50 years ago, education was not a mandatory thing for employment. Most people finished high school, but it wasn't a big deal if you didn't. Very few went to college unless you wanted to be a professional, doctor, lawyer, things like that. Children were taught to be more respectful of adults, of their teachers, you were just afraid not to do what the teacher said.
I would say the purpose of schooling and education would be to prepare you for the rest of your life, especially in your career, and just to give you a set of work ethics to follow throughout that career.
I feel the purpose of education is to make you a better adult. Hopefully when you come of age, you can assimilate into society better. Also, hopefully, the more education you get, the better income and better lifestyle you eventually will receive.
I feel like the purpose of school is to make more well-rounded, intelligent citizens in the state. So Illinois, when you're learning in a public school in Illinois, Illinois is funding public high schools, public elementary and middle schools to give you an education. So if they are funding you money and giving you the opportunity to get an education and learn, they want to make you a better citizen for that state. So Illinois gives you money for that school to get an education. So what you're going to turn around and do is be a better citizen for that state and make something of yourself from that education. So whether you decide to pursue teaching or, be a firefighter, you're going to take what you learned from the opportunities that the state provided you, and you're going to return the opportunities that Illinois gave to you.
I feel the purpose is to educate our youth and in order to get the jobs and the skills necessary to complete those jobs. And otherwise we wouldn't have lawyers and doctors and pastry chefs and land surveyors and all of these stuff if you didn't have schooling to back it up.
I would say the purpose of education is to learn, to better yourself, whether it be for a profession or for just your own personal enrichment. You can't go into a doctorate or being a lawyer or any of that without a lot of education. So it's for bettering yourself, either to yourself or for aiding others.
I would say education today is a lot more standardized testing based, and it's based more on ranking and grades than actually knowing the material. And if I were to change one thing about the education system, would be to focus more on the knowledge that you gain throughout the years rather than the test scores that you receive.
I feel education today can be really unfair, especially among college students. Students take extremely easy classes and have a higher GPA, but they don't put in the work, while others who take very hard classes and have a lower GPA that put in the work, which is unfair. What I would change about the educational system is standardized testing. A cumulative score determines if you'll get into the college that you want or not, but it does not really determine the work that you put in high school.
About it.
I feel like our education system as a whole is very strong. However, two aspects that stand out to me that I don't like about the educational system that could be revised is, number one, the political strain on the educational system, you know, with school boards and such like that. And then something else would be standardized tests. Standardized tests are such a focal point on our educational system that it takes away from creativity. It takes away from true learning, because not only are teachers strained to teach content in class so that a student can do good on a test, do good on a test, do good on a test. That's what we're focused on, is doing good on the test, which takes away from the actual learning and the creativity. And then at the same time, when you're spending time with PSAEs and, you know, ACT and the PARCC test, which is about to be introduced, the PARCC test, when you're introducing all these standardized tests, that takes away time from the classroom. So time is being taken away. So I would say the political strain and the standardized testing.
I feel that education is very strong today, and that you really need to have the education in order to get some of the simplest jobs that you didn't have to have the education before. It's more detailed. It's more, what do I want to say? It's more detailed. You need to have that kind of background in order to get almost any type of job these days. I would change it that they seem to focus more on, sometimes it's more on specific things than an overall general. And that's good and that's bad.
I feel education is it's a struggle to teach. Teachers have a hard time teaching children because the children themselves have not been taught at home to be disciplined. There's no discipline. There's no insisting on you learn this, or insisting on good manners, or I think a lot of that has to change back to a child being disciplined to learn better.
I would say to be well educated is to acquire a basic knowledge of the world and to use that knowledge to benefit yourself, your career, and others while better understanding the world.
To me, being well educated means being scholarly, or you have a degree, also being a professional in your craft. Basically anyone that is a well-rounded individual that has knowledge in culture, language, and other people around the world.
Educated.
I think what it means to be well educated is to be a well-rounded individual, to be able to understand different concepts and different content of the world, but also to not just be book smart, but also street smart, that you can say in a sense. So you're able to do well in school, but you're also able to socialize. You're able to get far in life, by talking to people, getting connections. You're book smart and you're street smart. And also to accept different points of views, not to have just one narrow way of viewing life. I think to be well educated means that you're able to accept and understand where people are coming from with their different points of views.
I think it means that it's somebody that has gone to school for a very long time. I feel that they know their profession very well. Being educated, there's all kinds of different education, though. I mean, I have the general life, I know situations and everything. So it's a combination of both. You need to have both of those aspects of your everyday experiences and the book learning in order to achieve being a very well educated person.
I think it means that you have put a lot of time into studying, to educating yourself, because you're not well educated if you don't have the discipline to do it. You need to have social abilities. You need common sense. A well-educated person can go anywhere they want to, but they have to learn to be disciplined.